That's a whole nother different world. Even our women, they have a women's class every Saturday. Teach them also how to act at home and abroad, how to treat themselves, how to treat their children, how to treat their men. The men, we eat different. The women in the nation, they feed life into us. They don't, they are take pride in feeding life to their families, right? So it's so the mentality, like I said, is just totally different, and we don't be blaming women. Like I don't, I'm not, as a man, I don't look for a woman to lead me. And
So what would you say is different from men in the nation versus men not in the nation? Like, what are they doing to cool out? I guess to cooperate with the women in the nation. Because I mean, I feel like when you talk about the Nation of Islam, they prioritize family, whereas outside of that, we don't prioritize family. We prioritize sexual pleasure on the first date. So like, what would you say is what men are
well,
doing in the nation that men outside the nation should be doing or could be doing?
the first and foremost is accountability. That's the number one thing. We have class, a man's class, is teaches us every Monday to teach us how to act at home and abroad, how to treat ourselves, how to treat our women, how to treat, have a clean mind, body, not, and how to act at home and abroad. So like our mindset is totally different, right? That's a whole nother different world. Even our women, they have a women's class every Saturday. Teach them also how to act at home and abroad, how to treat themselves, how to treat their children, how to treat their men. The men, we eat different. The women in the nation, they feed life into us. They don't, they are take pride in feeding life to their families, right? So it's so the mentality, like I said, is just totally different, and we don't be blaming women. Like I don't, I'm not, as a man, I don't look for a woman to lead me. And it'd be funny when I watch these shows and podcasts and I see men looking for, crying for women to lead. Well, you need to do this first. I thought you was a leader. You can't, if you say that you're a man, you have to lead in every aspect. But a lot of these dudes just be crying, they and be whining about every goddamn thing. Like they can't do nothing for themselves or they can't lead in anything. So they be looking for mommies. They ain't looking for a wife. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. So the mentality is just different.
If you were a woman, would you marry or would you have kids with a man like that?
Say that again?
If you were a woman, would you marry or have kids with a man like that?
Like what?
Like the men you're referring to, the ones that are not leaders, they look for women to be the leaders.
So I have daughters. I wouldn't want my daughters to marry a man like that at all.
And
I
there are a
want
lot of women, going back to my initial point, there are a lot of women who are not having kids because we understand the dynamic around us. We see the things that you're talking about, and we don't see the value in having children with somebody who we don't believe can protect us, but also who we believe can actually lead. And so the
and
question, then it really just boils down to why we're not having children. And it could be an intentional, we're hitting the wall on purpose because we just don't want to deal with whatever comes with a man not wanting to lead or a man looking for a quote unquote mom.
Oh, yeah, I agree. But it is also too, y'all lack patience too. Also. And a lot of our women also, uh, you know, again, you still playing the field because it's not like these women going 10, 15 years celibate. You still giving somebody something. So you entertaining somebody. Let's just make this perfectly clear. For whatever reasons or whatever extent that you want to take it with him, you still entertaining somebody. Uh,
But
let me
we not bringing babies in the world though into broken
listen.
homes.
Let me just say this. Uh,
Well, you're speaking personally. Yeah, you guys haven't, but majority, based on statistics, we do.
are bring. I was about to say. Let's be
We
clear.
do.
They are definitely bringing in babies. All
Yeah.
right, and then not only that. Listen, not
But
only
I
that.
think that we're speaking on the wall. She's talking about people who don't have kids and they're hitting a wall fertility wise. So when you're
Mhm.
taking in consideration those people, you have to ask yourself, well, why aren't they having kids? And what she's
Gotcha.
saying is we're not, because we're not finding suitable mates.
Got
I,
you.
I got you, but women still having children without finding suitable mates. Most people are making babies without even having a mind frame of uh, wanting to have it. Some people just they making babies out of lust. A lot of people just making babies in the heat of the moment. A lot of people are making babies by mistake. A lot of a lot of us aren't actually taking the time out and actually conceptualize the child that we want and preparing ourselves to actually have a child long before you conceive conceive the child. A lot of people just making babies out of lust in the heat of the moment. So it's happening, and 61% is happening, and it's just only the exceptions to the rule that's saying, nah, I'm not. And then by the time they do, they later on in the age, and where that wall that the guy was talking about, they done hit their wall already, and now they regretting, damn, I wish I'd have had such and such. And you know, let me just be frank with you. You know how many times women done hit me because of my size, the whole 9 yards. Listen, can we just have a child together? I'm talking about doctors, we talking about lawyers, scientists. It doesn't even matter. They want a child. They've been focusing on a career, and now they want at least one child. I'm not the only guy. Now, it's only 40%, and most of these dudes that be complaining, they're part of the 60% of the men that ain't really out here. Let's just make this, when I say really out here, in they past, they wasn't a shaker or mover. Women wasn't after them. These is the dudes that was getting played. He was sitting outside in the car while she was taking 2 hours outside and upstairs getting dressed, or she's somewhere else and giving him the text, oh, can we reschedule for another night? Those type of dudes that be sitting there crying about women. Because the real men that I know, they not running around complaining about women and women playing them out in that aspect, like these other dudes that be crying and crying about women. So at the end of the day, like to be plain with you, Lauren, just to be plain with you, we just need to take accountability on our end. And I think when we lead in the right direction as men, and we and at the head of everything, and when we are acting in the best of manners of ourselves and the nature of ourselves, I think women will follow and start acting the best or the nature that they was created in as well.
So hitting a wall is a male issue, not a woman's issue.
Say that again.
Hitting a wall is
it's a weak issue.
I think it can be both. It can be
It's
both.
a weak issue.
Because I think that what we talked about how women they feel like they don't have a suitable mate, but there are women who will have a suitable mate and they'll be like, oh no, I want to wait it out. I'm not ready to have children. They wait until their mid-30s thinking that mid-30, fertility is the same as the 20s. There are women who, prioritize their career, because I've heard that too. So it's both. It can be a little bit of both.